When asked what Ubuntu is, many people would say that Ubuntu is about values and principles. In fact, many respected African thinkers have explained the philosophy and the nature of Ubuntu in terms of values and principles. Welcome to lesson number 5 about values and principles. At the start, let us first consider why values and principles are important. To grapple with our values and principles requires engagement with and inquiry into our deeper being, the place from which we create and live our lives. As such, a values-based approach to life encourages reflective and aspirational qualities and attitudes. It raises our self-awareness and enables us to know who we really are and what really matters to us. Our values and principles give us insight into our own purpose in life and into our own unique gifts to the world. Active engagement with our values and principles helps us to understand the implications for the choices we make around our attitudes and our responses to life. Once identified, our values and principles become our inspiration. They play a role in the growth, development, and the expression of our highest potential. Engaging with our values and principles plays a very important role in the development of Ubuntu. It strengthens our inextricable connection with our fellow human beings, nature, and the greater universe. In this course on Ubuntu, we highlight 3 values that are very important to us: love, freedom, and compassion. Ubuntu is often referred to as heart consciousness. For us, this is beautifully confirmed through the story of Ma'at, the ancient African symbol for Ubuntu, the African goddess of truth, law, order, and justice. Ma'at is generally depicted as having a feather, the symbol for truth or light, in her headband, and carrying a scepter, the symbol for power, in one hand, and an ankh, the symbol for complete unity or eternal life, in the other. According to the ancient Kemetic cosmology, it was Ma'at's duty to determine if, at the time of death, a person would have eternal life or not, by placing the heart of the person on one side and the feather on the other side of her scale. This story of Ma'at tells us that in order for us to be in total unity with life requires that our heart, our thinking, is as light as a feather. According to this story, we can say that the truth is love, and that Ubuntu is equal to love. Love is the truth, law, order, and justice. At the core, Ubuntu deals with being human. The greatest challenges that people all over the world, and especially Africa, have had to face for many years revolve around freedom, liberty, and sovereignty. This is what most of our struggle icons like Steve Biko, Nelson Mandela, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, to name a tiny few, fought for. They fought for our humanity, for the freedom and the sovereignty of the people and our nation, and the liberation from colonization, oppression, and injustice. These values are included in this course so that we can grapple with them, and because our battle to realize these values are ongoing and remain urgent. Although these terms have been used interchangeably, there are slight differences in meaning. Freedom in general speaks to the state of being free, It is about the freedom to think, choose, speak, associate, act, move. It speaks of independence, autonomy, and self-reliance and governance. Sovereignty speaks to the supreme power and/or authority of a person, a group, or a nation. Liberty is the state of being free from oppressive restrictions or control imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political and religious views. These values remind us of former Presidents Thabo Mbeki and Nelson Mandela's call for an African Renaissance and Mandela's famous call for an RDP, the Reconstruction and Development Plan of the soul. Suffering is a reality of life. The bond that we have with others and the world means that we are not separate from the suffering of others. The practice of compassion comes through our awareness of this, the awareness of our oneness, and of the suffering that is in us, in another person, and in the world. Deep awareness and the experience of suffering motivates us to alleviate the suffering. Alleviating the suffering of another also means doing something for oneself. Having compassion for ourselves, our fellow human beings, and all of life is vital for the healing of the suffering of the world. Compassion is referred to as the magic of love. Having and showing compassion opens the heart of the world. These values of openness, love, and compassion lie at the core of many other values. Apart from the 7 cardinal virtues of Ubuntu, truth, justice, propriety, harmony, balance, reciprocity, and order, there are many other values that we may want to consider for ourselves, such as responsibility, forgiveness, cooperation, sharing and caring, creativity, spirituality, dignity, respect, presence, honesty, courage, freedom, introspection, and so on. As we have done in previous lectures, here are some African proverbs that point to the appreciation of values and principles by the African people. Truth should be in love, and love in truth. Concern is like medicine. Man, know thyself. This brings us to the end of lesson number 5. With this, we encourage you to choose or to revisit your own values and principles. List them and make them alive. Thank you for being the change you wish to see in the world.